You just pick whatever kind of fat or vegetable oils you want, and you can put it into a lye calculator. I use this Majestic Mountain Sage lye calculator. And it's real easy to use. They have some that are real complicated, but this one's real easy. So you put in your units of measurement, and then you would put in what kind of liquid you're using and what kind of lye you're using, because there's two different kinds of lye. One is to make a liquid soap, but I've never made liquid soap, so I just use the regular NaOH lye. It's what makes a hard bar soap. And then you go down here, you can pick, they've got tons of different kind of oils for you to pick from, and you just put in your measurement, whatever measurement you come up with. I did for us today, because I wanted to make sure everybody had enough soap to take home with them. I did 27 ounces of fat, and then I added 12 ounces of castor oil. Different kind of oils make different things happen in your soap. Like castor oil makes good suds, coconut oil makes good suds. Some of them are real moisturizing, and you always want to super fat your soap unless it's a laundry soap bar. Super fat means that there's a certain amount of fat left over that wasn't converted into soap, so it's real moisturizing. And if you don't have that extra fat in there, it dries your skin out pretty bad. So I did ours at 10% super fat. Okay. And I'll put this all in here and show you how it works. You paying attention too?
Yeah.
Okay. And we did 12 ounces of castor oil, 27 ounces of beef tallow. Okay, so then you just go all the way to the bottom and you do calculate lye. And this is what comes up. And it gives you the range of where it's, the red is where it's going to dry your skin out. 0, if you do it up here at the 0% super fat, could even irritate your skin. I like to do between 8 and 10. So today we're doing the 10% super fat. So this is the amount of lye you would use right there. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And then over here it will give you the suggested amount of liquid they say you should use, 10 to 15 ounces of liquid. But the more liquid you use, the more chances you have of your soap overheating when you put it in the mold, and it can cause a soap volcano, which is scary because when your lye is hot and the soap is hot and it starts bubbling up out of the mold, it can get dangerous. So I like to use the smaller amount of liquid, and later on you can always add more liquid if you want to. Kidney fat from beef, it's my favorite thing to use for soap. Pig fat's really good too, but the kidney fat's real clean. There's not a whole lot of meat in it, so you don't have a lot of excess that's left over after you render it. This is what I had left from 3.5 pounds of fat. Sometimes these can be as big as my leg. I've seen them huge out of a cow. So imagine how much soap you could make with that. That's part of the reason why I love making it with beef tallow. This is a little bit too warm for us to use for goat milk soap for right now. But when it's hard, it's nice and white and pretty like that. We're going to measure out our 10 ounces of the frozen goat milk. So we're going to do it on this. But a digital scale is way more accurate. Accuracy is kind of important with the lye. So we're going to weigh out the 10 ounces of goat milk. And it's important that it's frozen so that way it doesn't burn. Do you have any?
Okay, so they're about to measure out some lye, and the girls are putting their safety glasses on. Sorry about the backdrop with the bright light coming in the kitchen. I'll try to stand that direction next.
Alright, number 1 rule, there's some safety rules with lye. Always, always have a jug of vinegar with the lid open, ready, just in case. Because vinegar will neutralize the lye. So if you have a spill or a volcano like we were talking about, you got your vinegar ready with the lid already open. You just pour it right on there and it'll stop. And even if you get some on your skin, people say it doesn't work, but I think it does. It stops the burn on your skin even. You can use regular hardware store lye like you use for your drains, your sinks. But I use this. It comes from an apothecary and it's for making soap. And the difference is it's smaller beads. So it dissolves a lot quicker. Sometimes it's staticky when you open it. And if you run some warm water over it, it makes the staticiness go away. And what was my lye measurement? Can you look on that paper?
Yeah. Lye.
Yep.
4.80.
I'll do this part and then I'll let you girls put it in the milk, okay?
Well, we're going to back up a little bit so she's got plenty of room to work, and we're just going to watch her do the lye right now, okay?
Very slowly and very carefully.
She's measuring out 4.8. And I'd always heard that 4.65 was about basic.
I'm probably using a little bit more oil than a
Right.
regular size recipe.
4.8, you got it.
Ooh.
5.0.
The less lye you use,
I should be
the
wearing
more,
gloves, but
yeah, the more super fatted it's going
Right.
to be. The more lye, the less creamy your lather is going to be.
if you're doing the only soap lye mixture I make in the house is the goat milk. When it warms up, and like if you put it in water or if you're using a juice or something like that, it makes fumes that are caustic and they'll burn your lungs pretty bad. But since we're using the frozen goat milk, it doesn't do that, and I do it right in my kitchen sink. All right, hand me my crock pot. Where'd that go? That white crock pot right there. I put it in an ice bath to keep it nice and cold so the milk doesn't burn. Got it? So you can put it in the crock pot. And let's let Chyanne start pouring the lye in there. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Go grab the vinegar. Like I said, always have the vinegar near you.
Okay, let's have the two little girls with no protective eyewear on step back, please. And Chyanne, you're going to keep your head real straight, your back real straight. You're going to put your arms out in front of you as you do this, okay? That way you're going to keep your distance. You're going to be mixing the lye into the milk, okay?
Okay. And the most important thing, if you want white goat milk, is to keep it cold, cold. I mean, goat milk soap. So add the goat milk, the lye in there, a tiny bit at a time, real slowly. Just kind of mash it in as you add it in there. Junie can mash and Chyanne can pour. And I kind of try to spread it around on there. Watch out on this, Juniper.
Do you want me to
Spread it around on there.
like turn it
Nope,
upside?
you just hold on. Don't do anything till I ask you to. Kind of spread it evenly over the top of the milk. That way it's not all concentrated in one spot. And let's let that much melt for just a few minutes. And then as it melts, we'll just keep adding it. Add a little bit more, and pretty soon you'll have some liquid in there. Which with the goat milk, you do it very slowly. You can see sometimes it'll start turning it yellow right away. So you just got to keep mashing it, keep stirring it. Why don't you go get the bowl of fat out of there?
Yeah. The
Okay.
kitty fat?
You can go ahead and add a little bit more, Chyanne. And while we're doing the lye, I thought I would tell you a little bit about lye. Lye is kind of scary. It seems like a chemical. It seems like something that's not natural, but it actually is. It comes from wood ash. In the old days, like my grandma used to make her lye with just a bucket full of ashes, and she'd fill it up with water and stir it up real good, and then she'd let all the ashes soak down to the bottom of the bucket. And she'd let that sit for a few days, and the way they tested it is they took an egg and they floated it on top. If the egg floated on top of the water, that meant it was strong enough to go ahead and make your soap with. But there's other ways to make lye too. There's ash hoppers. Have you ever heard of an ash hopper? That's kind of like I think they did it a lot in like Arkansas and the Ozark Mountains and stuff. It's a wooden frame, and they put inside the frame boards that go like this. So it's a long funnel-shaped kind of container. And along where the boards meet like this, underneath, they have sort of like a gutter, like what runs your rain from the roof down into rain butt barrels, except it was so that when it rained, or if you didn't have any rain, you could pour your own water in there, and it would run down your channel into a bucket after it seeped through all the ashes, and that's how they got their lye a long time ago. And same thing, they tested it with an egg. But I was reading, because soap, people just take it for granted, it's an everyday kind of thing. I was reading that the earliest thing they have on record for some soap-like stuff was in 2800 BC. The Egyptians made it, and they mixed their wood ash right directly in with the fat. And I thought that's pretty interesting. I want to read some more about that. And there's also, this is a great soap fact for Halloween, a thing called a potassier. It's where they've dug up bodies before that were in graveyards that turned into soap. A whole entire body turned into soap. Pretty interesting, huh? And it's actually happened so many times that there's an actual name for it.
What was the name again?
A potassier.
Her mother does
Anthropology.
Oh, I love
Her mother's
anthropology.
an
That's what I want to
anthropologist.
do too. Well,
So,
your mother might know about that.
She may
thing.
find some bones someday that have turned to soap. That would be interesting.
And so there's 3 chemical reactions that happen here. The first one is your lye with your liquid. The liquid activates the lye. The second one is the lye liquid with the fat. So there's other kinds of alkalis that will react with fat and make soap. I think it was the Phoenicians used urine. Okay, that doesn't sound like it would get anything clean, does it? And the Egyptians used it medicinally. People say soap isn't a medicinal thing, but I disagree. I think it is medicinal. When you get a cut or a scrape, what's the first thing you do?
You wash it with soap and water.
It's the very first treatment before anything else. So I say that makes it pretty medicinal. You can pour a little bit more lye in now. See, it's very slow getting the milk to melt.
And at least it's not burning. That's good. That means your milk is nice and frozen.
Yep. You can probably just put the rest of that in there. That should be
If it were to burn your skin right now, what would you do?
We would pour vinegar on it.
And the vinegar does what? It neutralizes?
Yes.
Yeah, and it will stop the burning.
Neutralizes the lye. That's good. And I see we have our vinegar right over here, just in case.
And what I do is whenever I have my tools and materials, I go ahead and pour a little bit of vinegar
And that
in
way
there
we don't accidentally have a child touch it, and
because, yeah,
you're already neutralizing it. That's
already
good.
neutralizing. If we have to use an acid to neutralize the lye, that the lye is very, very alkaline. So what that does, it brings it all to the middle.
To the neutral.
So rich.
Explain to them what that was earlier. That was the liquid tallow, right?
Yep.
Where
See
you
what
had
it's turned
melted it off
into?
the kidney. And now you've had it in the freezer and it's been chilling down and it's a nice, beautiful white tallow.
That's what I say. Beautiful white fat.
You run the stick blender for a while.
Good idea.
Now blend it around. Up and down and round and round. Very good. And when you get tired in a minute, let your sister do it. There you go. You might take 2 hands for you. Turn the switch and go up and down and round and round. Up and down too. Very good.
Is that okay with you guys? Because I don't want any spill on the way to the pan.
Now the 2 little ones with no eyewear on are going to step back so it doesn't splash into their eyes.
We're not going to do that.
And now we're adding the lye to the fat. And you had already measured this fat out?
The fat it's 27 ounces of tallow and 12 ounces of castor oil. There's so much fat in the goat milk that sometimes it starts saponifying, which I didn't tell you girls, that's the word for the chemical reaction that happens when you're making soap. You want to do some mixing? Sometimes you have to move really quick because your temperatures are so cool it'll set up.
Jump in there, Cheyenne. Okay, you want
And mix.
it's either you or Juniper because you're the only ones with glasses.
Okay.
It's kind of hard.
Yeah, you're gonna have to mix quick.
Do you
Yep,
want
mix
this
quick.
one?
I don't think, sometimes I use the stick blenders with the goat milk soap. Sometimes I don't because it sets up so fast. Sometimes the stick blender makes it go too fast.
Gotcha.
Juniper, let Cheyenne stir for a minute.
Yeah.
You hold the bowl. Get in there and beat it up really good, Cheyenne.
Yeah.
Can you see what's going
Put some
on?
muscle into it. There you go.
If you guys, if
Scrape it off the sides.
Chyanne and Aoife take a look, notice how it's already getting kind of.
It's already looking like a
It
nice
looks
soap.
like frosting. That's
Now, how long will it take for the lye so that it's no longer like a caustic?
I give it 24 hours. And you can use it after 24 hours, but it's really nice after a month or two.
Okay.
That's when it really starts getting to be a nice mild soap. Scrape this off a little bit. Because you want to make sure you get everything mixed up and don't have any chunks of fat left in there. So go ahead, keep on mixing. And then let's get some molds ready. Peppermint.
I like peppermint
Okay.
a lot.
And then lavender. You guys want to smell the lavender? Smell?
It kept getting on my nose. I tried to go smell it and then it's on my nose.
beautiful too.
Yeah.
Don't put your nose to it.
I
So everybody agrees on lavender, huh? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, she's putting the lavender, right?
There's certain points where you can make people sick if you put too much essential oils in it. You can find those measurements. They have charts and stuff on what's safe and what's not safe. But I just always make sure I stay way below the danger zone. And we'll do 15 drops of peppermint oil. Want to count them, girls?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15.
Okay. Now let's whip it up and you can smell it.
You can start this time.
And here's some sage and some alfalfa. Alfalfa gives you real pretty greens in your soap. And then what else do I have?
We have a cedar branch I brought.
Yep, that's right here.
Cedar
Cedar.
is the mother of the evergreen trees. She's the gentle one.
Okay, if you want to make your soap scrubby, we have Epsom salt. That'll make a nice scrubby soap.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
I've got alkanet root and spirulina powder. Those make real pretty colors in your soap. Plus, they're good for you. So you guys can pick whatever you want. If you want to do some decorations on top, you could put down in here first and we'll pour the soap down on top of it.
Okay.
So you guys can pick and personalize your own soaps. You girls will do your soaps in this one. That way you guys can take some home with you too. And as soon as this is done, it goes in the freezer. So
Okay.
let's get going.
Still need
So,
our glasses and gloves.
You can take your glasses and your gloves off now.
Okay, so
Take that side too.
did you guys decide?
I think so.
Okay.
No, not that one.
Okay. Well, you need to step up here because we can't take too long.
Yep, when you're soaping at cool temperatures, it
Eva,
sets up
that's not
fast.
quite enough.
Okay.
But no more. No more. Take some from here and sprinkle, okay?
Yep, just a tiny bit
Tiny
makes
bit.
a lot of color in your soap.
Can I use some of
And
this?
it's still your fingers, okay, Fiona?
Okay.
Okay, what is your name?
Fiona.
Fiona? And you have made soaps and this is your batch of soap? Hold on, let me see if I can bring it into focus. There you go. Okay, that's your batch of goat milk soap. And your name is?
Aoife.
Aoife? Okay, and this is your batch of soap. That's really pretty. I like the flowers on it. And we all know Cheyenne. She's
Hi.
been on everything from goat milking to horse doctoring and she recently did a video on dowsing.
Yeah, I heard about
So-
that and I haven't watched it yet, but I
This
bet
is
it
your
was pretty
soap.
cool.
And this is Juniper. And Juniper has made soaps and it looks like she's made some pretty good Halloween colors in here. So, and then looks like Cruzita is going to take the rest of the soap and try to have some for family use.
It's so pretty, the color.
Now Cruzita, we're going to put this in the freezer. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it goes in the freezer. It's not necessary, but it will make it stay nice and white. So just to make sure it doesn't burn. It doesn't even look like we're going to need to though.
No, I've actually got it on my hands and already washed my hands with it. They feel soft and smooth and there's no burn to it at all. So I'm really happy about that.
We probably shouldn't need to put it in the freezer.
Yeah. So we just let it cure for 24 hours and it should be good to use, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.